Here I have a couple of light and dark decks from the in-between era, sort of legacy era cards, but we mixed in a lot of the newer cards after the reset a friend and I did when we played at the kitchen table. I will start out with the Rebel Strike Team deck. There might not be a whole lot groundbreaking in here, but there were a few themes that I wanted to mix together and see how they worked. Goal here is to blow up the bunker, and this is the regular version of it. So get some bonuses here, and I think you can retrieve a scout each time you during each of your draw phases once you blow the bunker away, or control 3 and/or sites. But starts out pretty good activation. Good defense value for my scouts, and you can take into hand an and/or battleground site, an and/or weapon, or a card with Ewok and lore. So there's a lot of good cards I can get with that. This doesn't really work so hot with the shield in terms of forcing the opponent to place their hand in the use pile, but the retrieve 8 force is possible. And strike planning lets me get generals, or the main thing it does is it cancels the dark side force icon, so a 4-to-1 starting ratio is not bad at all. This is what allows me to blow up the bunker if I have stuff there, specifically if I control it, but also if I have explosive charges, and that's what gets me the charges, and those are the charges. And this is something I wanted to fit in the deck. It's tough when the most important battle happens at an interior site, but being able to have Z95s providing air support, so adding a battle destiny and also a destiny to total power. Haven't quite gotten that to work, but it is a dream of mine, you could say. An extra grabber. This lets me take home 1 into hand if I get it out, plus adds 1 to my force drains where I have home 1. This lets me get a couple free effects out, and then into the characters. So one of each of the hero scouts, they each have kind of their own abilities. Some are good for this deck, others not so good, but I had to have one of each main character in there. He's useful for helping me move extra far, and his text of adding to opponent's deploy cost is pretty good. But each of these scouts and commandos has their own special tricks. And I got a couple of sharpshooter rifles in there, so being able to shoot to an adjacent site seems pretty fun during my control phase. And some of those hero destiny adders. Dash to help me move over a scout for free as a react. A couple of Endor sites, rebel leaderships to get out my admirals and generals. So Akbar. He's helped me get out Tala 1 and Tala 2 to provide that air support, also the Falcon. And there's Tala 1, Tala 2. This is actually the wrong image, and he's technically not the matching pilot, but by being able to pull a general or a scout into hand, and being able to pull the fighter into hand, I can still at least have him there with home 1, and basically home 1, hopefully they don't mess with it, they choose not to mess with home 1, but and I got Tala 1 there being able to add those destinies. Not that they might ever come down to the, I've kind of learned that the more I played the game, they wouldn't necessarily come down to Endor, if they could avoid at least the exterior sites. But Rebel Strike Team, it was at least fairly thematic, and I remember having fun with it in a couple games. This one's a bit more of an odd duck. This is the old virtual version of the Ralltiir operations. In fact, okay, yeah, so this is the original version of Ralltiir operations with the virtual interrupt and effect. So a special site here that helps my characters deploy -1, and gives me some extra force generation. And the cool text here: whenever you draw Battle Destiny, you may exchange a card in hand with a card of the same type in lost piles. So when I draw Battle Destiny, I have a interrupt that I don't really want in my hand, and there's one I do really want in my lost pile. I can just switch them, which is pretty nifty. Allows you to play the same interrupt over and over again if you notice your opponent isn't really set up for it. So a general here to help me get out a system, but the main thing in this deck is troopers. So this is a regular stormtrooper, but it is the virtual version. So draws 1 battle destiny if unable to otherwise, and is forfeit +2. Got quite a few of those in there. The idea is to spread them out, maybe with the help of a cadet. Then these assault rifles are why I call the deck Ralltiir rifles. So whenever they hit anybody, they make them lost. So I guess they're not really hit. I got 6 of them in the deck, and that adds to their forfeit and their weapon destiny, and even total battle destiny. Defensive fire to really, hopefully, as soon as they initiate battle, I don't know, if they initiate a battle with Qui-Gon, you're adding 1, 2, 3 to your weapon destiny. So if you draw a 5, which is kind of hard to do actually, then you might be able to hit them. But there's some decently high destinies here. Or using Blasted Droid to use interrupt to basically snipe somebody from the same adjacent site during your control phase. I got 3 of those. So take a pot shot or 2. Quick reflexes to get the blasters back. Weapon levitation to get them out of my use pile in case I need to. A few Imperial commands, point mans. Then had to have a couple systems in here and just a few ships to try to keep them honest in space. But just the idea of, I mean, there's a effect, I forget exactly, it's one of the Dejeric effects that's been virtualized that really hampers someone's ability to use these to their fullest potential to make characters go lost. But at the same time, firing at the same or adjacent site, it only costs 1 force, and in fact with Blasted Droid it's free. You might just be able to have the regular stormtroopers actually hit something. So that's the Ralltiir deck. This is one that I kind of wish, you know, I've always liked that weapon in the old Virtual era, but I've got just a few more decks coming from the in-between, the half legacy, half updated era. A few more for light, a few more for dark, and I hope you tune in for those videos. Thanks for watching.